Hey everyone, good morning. It's morning in some places. I'm Christine Kidder, and I'm here to talk about do free training on how you can get hired when you own your story. What am I talking about? This is really important because there's so many people in the market right now, and you need to stand out. And by you standing out, you're going to find an opportunity that's a great fit for you. But if you don't stand out and if you don't like share what you're up to, what you're about, what your skills are, if you don't share your brand, then how is that company going to be able to find you, to hire you? It's really critical. And I did a training that was kind of associated with this last week, but I felt like I didn't stress this enough on how important it is for you to own your story. And specifically, the secret sauce or the secret to owning your story is honing in on your differentiators. How are you different? Because you are different. Many times we want to blend in the crowd, we want to just blend in with everyone. But in your career, and absolutely, when you are in search mode, you want to showcase how you are different because that's how you're going to stand out from everyone else and ultimately land that role that fits you well. It's critical. So I'm going to give you some details today to help you with owning your story because I talk with people all the time and to get to know them, I'm always making new connections. And I really try to give them guidance right away. Um, when they're telling me about themselves, because there's things they're not telling me enough about them up front. You don't want to make anyone to have to like dig. Just think about it in the interview setting. Okay. If you've ever interviewed someone, have you ever interviewed someone where you had to like pull all this information out of them? And by the end of the interview, maybe you still didn't get the answers to your questions. You really didn't learn enough about their skills and what they can do. It's the same basic principle. You don't want people to have to pull information out of you because honestly, people are so busy, people don't have the time to do that. So again, you want to make it as easy as possible. You want to own your story and you want to lead with it. That is really key. Okay. So again, differentiators are the key to they're the secret for you standing out. So you might be wondering, well, how do I know what are my differentiators? How am I different from other people? And I've talked about this before as well, and I'm happy to just really summarize for you. There's so many ways that you can hone in on what makes you different. Number one, if you are in search mode, who are those people who would be references for you, who are in your corner? The people who are on your personal board of directors, okay? Those are the people who've worked with you in the past, or maybe they're working with you now. They could be old bosses or former peers, but they are your connections. Typically, they're a portion of your connections. So really talking with them and asking them, hey, what do you feel makes me different from other people that you've worked with? And then to further tap into the story, because we all have those stories from work where we had this project from hell that we thought would never end. And it's like, oh my gosh, everyone had to roll up their sleeves, put in extra hours. Maybe it was a systems implementation. I don't know. But think about those stories where you were basically in the trenches with other people and how you helped to get the project completed. What was it? How did it go? But But that story, actually tapping into the story, is what makes you sticky. And I came across a great example of this that I really want to share with you. What we'll do is we'll put it in the comments for this LinkedIn Live, because I feel it really illustrates the power of story and owning your story. Okay. And this is a story I heard about it from one of my connections, an awesome marketing leader. And she's really good. I mean, that's one of her specialties, I think, in working with others, is pulling out the brand story, and I think this story, she wrote an article actually about this. So we're sharing the article so you can see it. But it really illustrates how, we need to pull out those stories. And it can be hard for us because, and I do this, I love working with marketing and sales leaders because they're so great at selling and marketing a product or a service. But when we have to take that skill set and apply it to ourselves, it can be much harder. So that's why we have to collaborate with others. And I do that with my clients. But if you're not working with a coach, maybe you can, tap into your connections and really try to, collaborate with them and have them help you pull out your stories. And it's also enjoyable too when you start to do that and you're like, yeah, we did do that and this and that. It's a really good exercise to go through. So I encourage you to do that and definitely check out the article that we're putting in the comments, because again, I think it really illustrates. In this article, Sylvia, who's the author of the article, she talks about when she was working with a CEO, I believe, and of a utilities company, and by having him share his personal experience, that helps us to bond, makes us memorable. I mean, it just has so many things. And it helps you to connect. It helps you to connect with the interviewer when you're trying to get that role. It helps you throughout different points, different touch points in your interview process. So, but again, you want to hone in on your differences. It's kind of ironic when we hone in on our differences, it helps us to connect with other people. You would think that it might not, but it does, and it really helps a lot with that. So tap into your connections, your personal board of directors, people who would be references for you. Really, if you're having trouble on, your differentiators, like really, if you're having trouble being clear on them, tap into them and see if they can help. Another thing that helps too is if you have any past reviews that you've received, go through those just to see if there's anything in there, possibly. There's assessments. I recommend the Strengths Finder assessment too. And I do use that in working with my clients. And you may want to do that too if you're really stuck on this. But again, want you to just hone in on what makes you different, because when you highlight that, then that helps you to be sticky. So, okay, so let's say you are clear on your differentiators. And I do want to give another example too. So in one of my connection calls that I did, it was talking with this marketing leader for the first time. And she was telling me about her experience, and she is in search mode. And what really stood out to me is not only did she have really good consumer products experience, but she also had experience in agriculture. And but again, it kind of had to pull it out. And it's like, you want to lead with that, the combination. So maybe you can do a combination of things, because the combination itself might be harder to find. I mean, how many people are there out there? I would think it's a smaller group based on my experience of people who have both consumer products and agricultural experience. Okay. So you want to lead with that. So think about things that you can combine, because those combinations can be really good. And then they put you in a smaller group. So definitely keep that in mind. Okay, so I got to keep on moving along here to make sure that I'm covering everything that I want to. Okay, so you get the clarity on your differentiators. You're looking for things that you can combine possibly. It could be a wide variety of things, but again, you're looking to highlight your combinations if possible. And then you need to communicate this. And the best way to communicate this is obviously we're on LinkedIn right now. You need to highlight this in your LinkedIn profile. Lead with it. Don't have me have to pull it out of you. Recruiters would really appreciate it if you can lead with it. Recruiters don't want to have to pull information out of you because they're not going to do it. They're not going to take the time to do it. So put it in your, by leading with it, I mean, put it in your headline because that is front and center. And then also put it in your about section and then put it in your experience section. So you're communicating your differentiators in your headline, your about section, and your experience section. I'm not trying to blow over the featured section. I think the featured section on your LinkedIn profile is awesome. It's just that it's not searchable. Okay. So think about it this way. For you to own your story, and again, I want you to own your story, highlight your differentiators so you're sticky, and that's how you're going to land a role. Okay. But for you to be found on LinkedIn, all right, you want the right people to find you on LinkedIn. Think about it in two steps. Number one, you have to come up in their searches first of all right? And you want to come up as close to the top of the search as possible, because think about it, when you search, when you go on Google and you're just searching something, how, like, get all these results, do you really drill down to look at the 10th result? No. I mean, I stick with the first couple. I mean, that's just what we do. You need to make sure you're as close to the top of that search as possible. So that's step one, is actually coming up in the search, making sure that your LinkedIn profile is search engine optimized to come up at the top of the search. All right. So you come up in the top of the search because you've got the keywords that help to differentiate you, help you to pop up for those roles that you're interested in. And then they click on your profile. So great. You've got someone looking at your profile. This is awesome. 4 seconds. You have 4 seconds to make an impact. I really think it's best to just assume that you don't have a lot of time. And that's why you have to lead with your differentiators and how you're sticky. You have to own your story. You have to be so rooted in it and just, really own it and be confident in it. So that's key. And when you think about someone viewing your LinkedIn profile, are they like scrolling all the way down and looking at the whole thing? No, they're going to make a decision. If you don't grab them, then they're going to go on to the next one. So you want to pull them in and engage them. And so you pull them in with your profile photo, your banner photo, because we do look at photos. That's why they're there. We're human beings. We're going to make judgments on that. And what you're leading right away with your headline. Your headline is just so important, right? So then if you lead with that, then they'll be able to scroll down and learn more about you. And this is where the featured section comes in, because the featured section is where you can showcase your work. You can provide samples of your work. You can provide articles or posts that you've written on LinkedIn where you're sharing your expertise, you're sharing your knowledge. You're sharing what makes you different. And by you sharing what makes you different, you're sticky and you're standing out from other people. So that's what's so awesome about the featured section. Again, it helps you to be different and showcase your work. So again, those are the key ways for you to communicate your differences right away, so we don't have to pull them out of you. Okay. And of course, you can do that in your resume, but again, the LinkedIn profile is front and center. So when I was doing recruiting and I would receive a resume, I would still pull up the person's LinkedIn profile because I want to know as much about this person as possible. I'm really curious. So, so that's why you need to do that. Okay. Last thing is that's really important. So again, leading with your differentiators, communicating them, but also you need to connect. You need to reach out to people on a regular basis. Am I telling you that you need to do this for hours and hours? No. Even if you just start with 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, small habits are powerful. The perfect example is brushing our teeth in the morning and the evening. If you stop brushing your teeth, that would not be good. So you can do the same thing. If you brush your teeth, you can network with people, or rather, as I like to say, you can connect with people. I want you to make at least one new connection a day. And I also want you to reach out to one existing connection. Okay. And when you're reaching out to them, you might be like, often what stops us from doing this is we don't know what to say. Well, if you are in search mode, you don't have to lead with, I need a job. You can say, hey, how's it going? How are you? Do you want to talk some shop? It's great to talk shop. If you are passionate and you love what you do, talk shop with people. That's a great way to find common ground and really connect. So, but the connection piece is important because if you're not owning your story, part of owning your story is communicating your story. You can't just like hang out and be like, yeah, I own my story. I know what it is. Now you have to take action. You have to be in action and you have to, share your story. And yeah, your LinkedIn profile is awesome. It will communicate it. Think of it as your landing page when people, come to see you. Well, they're looking you up and they're checking you out. So, but at the same time, you're still going to have to be in action. You're still going to have to reach out to people. That is key. Yeah. And if it's something that you're uncomfortable with, hey, I totally get it. Many people are uncomfortable with it, but just start small. And the more you do that small, consistent, regular habit, you'll get more comfortable with it. You'll get a lot more comfortable with it. You may actually like it someday. So just give it a try. To start with one new connection and then one existing connection. And I've done trainings on like what your strategy should be because it can be overwhelming, especially with new connections. Where do I start? How do I start making new connections? You need a plan. You need a focus. That is really important. I don't want you to just start willy-nilly. You should have a plan and focus. And I do have other trainings that I've done on that. I can help. But I'm also, the best way I can help you, hands down, is if we do a call. If we are, number one, if we're not connected, let's connect. Let's definitely connect here on LinkedIn. And then once we connect, let's have a quick conversation. I love doing this with my new connections. I do a complimentary audit of your LinkedIn profile, and I'll give you feedback. I'll give it to you straight. I'll tell you what the deficiencies are, what you're missing. And I'm happy to do that for my new connections. But let's connect And thank you so much for your time today. I hope you found this helpful. Please give me your questions in the comments. If I don't answer them today because I'm already over time, I will get back to you. I will answer your questions, but give me questions. I love questions. And let's do a call if we haven't had a conversation, because conversation is the key to connection. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks. Bye.